Now, I want to just mention very briefly that there are several costs that go beyond the budget, that are costs to our society, costs to our economy, again, that he's not talking about.
Right.
Let me just mention a couple. There are both the micro costs and the macro costs. The micro costs are things like, I mentioned the disabled.
Right.
In 1 out of 5 families with somebody seriously disabled, somebody has to give up a job to take care of the disabled person.
Okay.
The disability benefits just don't cover
Right.
the cost to the family of taking care of somebody full time.
Right.
So that's a cost to the economy, it's a cost to the family.
Right.
It's a real cost,
Right.
but not included in the budget. Another example, when somebody dies, they get $100,000. If they purchased an insurance policy through the government, they'll get another $400,000.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right. Right.
Total $500,000.
Right.
If they purchase the insurance policy, and
Right.
many of them, not all of them do. But now, that's what goes on the budget.
Right.
But if you've been killed in an automobile accident or in any other kind of work-related accident, normally you get a lot more than that. A young person
Right.
with a career ahead of them
Right.
would get far more than that. And the government actually has estimated the value of a life.
Okay.
It's an unpleasant task, but you have to do it for
Right,
these purposes. When we pass an environmental regulation, you have to say, what is the cost of the regulation?
Right.
What is the benefit? The benefit is the number of lives saved. How do we value a life? The number the government uses is the various numbers, but they're like between $7 and $20 million.
Okay.
We use in our book 7.2 million, which is sort of the one that the Environmental Protection Agency.
Right.
The point is that that number, no matter how you calculate it, is much more than the $100,000 or the $500,000 that goes in the budget.
Right.
The cost to our society of the loss of the future earnings is just so much
Right.
more. And this is not even valuing the stress on the family and
Right.
all these other.
You get into opportunity costs too, I believe. We
That's
talked earlier.
included. That's part of the opportunity cost.
Okay.
And then there's a big chunk of change for the macroeconomic cost. What we explain in the book is the connection between the weak economy today
Right.
and the war. They're not unrelated.
And in a quick nutshell, because we know we don't want to miss our next panel, what's the connection?
The connection is very simple. The war is what set the price of oil going higher and higher.
What do you say?
And, well, in 2003, before we went to the war, there were futures markets. They understood that the demand from China, India was going to rise over time.
Right.
But they understood that there was a huge reservoir of oil in the Middle East.
Right.
Low cost only $5 or less a barrel
Okay.
to bring it out. And that supply would increase in tandem with the demand.
Okay.
The war is what upset that equation. And then you got this very negative dynamic going.
In what way did it upset the equation? Are you saying just in terms of Iraqi production dropping?
No,
or
not just
what?
Iraqi, but investors didn't want to go into the Middle East that was in turmoil.
Even as far as other parts of the Middle East, it chilled investment.
It chilled investment for a while. But then something started, a process started, a dynamic started. And what that dynamic was the following. Prices going up. Most of the oil is owned by governments.
Right.
They don't need to produce more oil to meet their budgetary needs. In fact, as the price doubled, as it went from 25 to 50,
Right. Oh, okay.
they had more money than they could use.
Right. It's creamed.
So they had no incentive to start increasing production, and they
Right.
figured out if I don't increase production, I can make more and more money.
The prices will go even higher.
The prices will go even higher.
Okay. Right.
And then they have a further problem. They start discovering, what are they going to do with the money?
Right.
If they put in the United States, the value of the dollar is going down. At the end of the year, it's going to be worth less than it was at the beginning of the year.
So it's better to keep it as oil
beneath
and not
your
sell
ground.
it. Okay.
And when they try to put it in the United States in the sovereign wealth funds, they get a huge amount of criticism.
But I've heard that there's sort of an argument of people who believe that there is more oil to be produced as far as in the Middle East, and others who say, they're within 5% of the max that they can produce. I mean, why do you...
They are within the max that they could produce today because they haven't invested in capacity.
Oh, okay.
You asked the question,
that's interesting.
What has happened since 2003?
Right.
oil that was beneath the ground didn't disappear.
Right.
If anything, more oil has been discovered. Moreover, since 2003, there's been a global consensus that we need to reduce oil consumption for global warming.
Right.
So, over the long run, demand has gone down. So what should that normally mean?
Right. Prices go down.
Prices go down. But, as I explained, prices are going up. Well, the reason is it doesn't pay them to increase capacity. And it's even worse right now, because it used to be that Saudi Arabia used to keep excess capacity to discipline the cartel.
No, I remember this, yeah.
And so if any other country started producing more than they were allocated, Saudi Arabia would increase the production, prices would go down, they'd learn their lesson, prices go back up again. But now, Bush says, are you our friend or not? And if you're our friend, you have to use all the capacity that you have. So, if they have to use all the capacity they have, what do they do? Not increase the capacity. Not increase the capacity. So we've encouraged them not to increase in capacity.
And to what degree is all this the futures trading or whatever people are talking about? Are speculators affecting the market as well, you think, or not?
Well, speculators are giving them confidence that they'd be better leaving the oil below the ground.
Okay.
Because what they're saying is, look, the price of oil today is 140, but it looks like it's going to be 140 10 years from now, or better, or 200 is what people, experts are saying. So where's the best place to keep it? Keep it below the ground. Put it in dollars. Your dollar is going down every year.
Is the dollar devaluation affecting or not affecting oil prices?
Well, oil is an internationally traded commodity. So, as an internationally traded commodity, its price reflects the global demand. Now, the price of oil is going up in euros, in dollars, in yen. So, there is an increase in price everywhere. But we feel it much more in the United States because the dollar is the buying power of the dollar is down.
So it's affecting our purchasing power, not the
it's
price itself. So
it depends on but if you priced it in euros, what you're saying is to get this oil. I mean, after all, they can sell it in Europe at one price, and if they're going to sell it to us, since the dollar is worth less, we have to give that many more dollars.
I mean, I'm not sure if you would know this because it's seen with European gas prices, but have the Europeans seen less of an increase in gas prices than Americans have seen over the last 3 or 4 years?
Yes.
Well, they have, so it's increased more than the States. Or
Precisely,
as a percentage,
because the dollar has weakened so much during the last 5 years.
So which is funny because it's a real impact. Most Americans, I suspect, think that the dollar only deals with if you go to Paris and you go on vacation. They don't think it's affecting gas prices at home.
It's an internationally traded commodity, and any internationally traded commodities we're paying through the nose because of the weak dollar.